Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar, and a big thank you to the YouTube viewers who are watching my videos. I think you like them, so please share it with somebody else who might like it, which means there's about 1,000 of you who watch them that likes it. Share it with another 1,000 people. So they might as well like it. They might find something interesting. And thanks for the conversation going on Bitcoin. I think some of you have literally off the idea of what I'm saying. What I was asking about Bitcoin was, what if all the exchanges for Bitcoin closes? One guy went and he said, well, what if the internet is off? Well, if the internet is off, then life for most people will literally end. Let's put it that way. I'm kidding. But that's not the point. The point is, what would you do with the Bitcoin in your wallet if that happens? Now, there were there were very good answers. Like one guy said, I think in one of those Latin American countries, I can't remember which one exactly now, it's legal to use Bitcoin. I can't say that I don't know whether that is true. I haven't even checked it. I may Google it sometime in the weekend if I have time. But if that is true, then yes, if you're living there, you can spend it there, right? If it's legal, if the government has legalized it so you can spend it, great. That's a good thing if you're living there. If you're not living there, then it's not such a good thing, because then you wouldn't be able to spend it. I think there was some other answers like credit cards. What would you do with your credit cards? That's not the question. And I think that is so irrelevant. I don't even want to, go there. There were other answers. I think people were giving very good answers. Like, I think if I can remember them very clearly, one guy was saying something about, he was saying decentralized, but a decentralized exchange. The idea is of all the exchanges are closed, centralized or decentralized. And I think mostly the idea that Bitcoin is decentralized or that your Bitcoin is a secret, something nobody knows about, forget about that idea, right? Because the governments have access to every single thing. I think most of you might have heard the case. I hope most of you heard the case about the hackers when they closed the pipeline in the US, right? And then they demand that they're being paid in Bitcoin because for some reason Bitcoin is untraceable. And these are hackers, right? These are serious people very concerned and knowing things, right, about the internet. And they were pretty sure that if they take their payment in Bitcoin instead of the dollar, it's untraceable. And which means they can get it very fast back. Well, guess what? The FBI found their wallet, managed to get into their wallet, managed to retake all the money from them that was remaining. All the Bitcoin that was remaining, managed to take it back. And I hope they didn't have their Bitcoin in, but I think they got back less than the amount because Bitcoin had fell by that time. But the idea is that you can't hide it. That's the point. So if that was an answer that, well, you're going to go to decentralized thing, it's not going to work. There would be no decentralized exchange if the hypothetical situation I'm giving you works out. So it comes back to what would you do with it? Except for the one answer that the guy said, my government in Latin America, whichever, I can't remember which one, I wouldn't quote it. You can go read the comment, that they have officially, that government has officially allowed them to use cryptocurrency in that country. I don't know if that is true. I wouldn't swear to that. I haven't checked it up, so I have no idea. I hope he's telling me the truth, and then, then you can go live there. You can spend it. Or take a vacation to that country and spend it. That might be the only option. Salvador, right? El Salvador, I think he said so. It was in my mind, but I can't remember because I just kind of glanced at, only those comments are the ones I'm glancing at, and the ones with the Bitcoin, because it's curious. And I'm not trying to pick at anybody, right? Because you can trade these things and make money. I said that. I'm just saying it's quite an interesting thing, what people think about it and what they think would happen if certain conditions happen, right? In terms of fiat currency, one guy was trying to say fiat currency is used as just paper. Dude, please. The paper is guaranteed by a government, right? It's a piece of paper, but it's guaranteed by the government unless the government defaults. And even in the case where government defaults, if the government starts to function again after that, you can reclaim your money. You do get back your money from them. Actually, the Russia actually defaulted once. Well, I was in Russia. They default on their payments, and a lot of companies that they owe actually got back payment. People got back payment, but they got back in the new Russian rubles, which wasn't the equivalent of the old Russian rubles, but they got back something. Right, because it's a government, and you made a promise to people to pay on that piece of paper. And if you're going to function as a government with the rest of the world, and you owe somebody, you would have to pay them, right? The czar might be giving a buy setup. We can take a look at that, but I've started the webinar already, Ivan. As soon as we finish the webinar, or when we get to the czar, we'll do it, right? So thank you for the update, for the heads up. Okay, let's go. Let me don't rant anymore. Let's go straight into this. Please share it. Please share this, because there are a lot of people who don't know this method, who haven't seen it, but might find it interesting and might find some usefulness in it, because those thousands of people watching it are finding it useful, right? So let's go, dollar index. Good. So yesterday we were thinking that from this point, it could go up, right? That is one of the options we're looking for. It actually dropped a little lower. It didn't break out. We were expecting this to probably break out, or even if you got tagged by our rule, it spends 6 over here. So you shouldn't be in that trade. So that wasn't a trade for us, right? I was looking at a running flat here. So that wasn't a trade. If it was a trade, you got out of the trade, because the consolidation at the top here was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. You should be above that top. Right? So that wouldn't have been a trade. It actually dropped. Now, I'm not sure I would sell this, and I don't think you should. The only, like I said, if it consolidates under here, if we get a consolidation here, this could be a sell. If we get a consolidation whereby this comes back to the top and start to drop, that becomes a sell. Right? If it comes back to the top and drop, I will probably look at this piece in here as an expanding flat. Then it becomes a sell. As of now, it's a sell only if this consolidates here and drop. Then we go for a sell setup. If this goes right back to the top, breaks through this and consolidate here, we're buying. So the single drop here didn't really change the pattern as yet we're looking for. The pattern is still possible that it could be that pattern. It will only change if this consolidation here stays here. If it consolidates here, then yes, we look for a sell setup. So it will probably have to take about 5 or 6 hours consolidation before we go for a sell. I don't see the sell setup as yet, but it could be a sell. I still think this might be just a bigger impulse in this one, and we go up. But let's wait and see. So 2 options for sell. One is if it consolidates here, we go for the sell. If it comes back to the top and start to drop, we go for the sell. Those are the 2 options for the sell. For the buy, there's 1 option, but that is not going to happen today, because it has to come all the way to the top here. It has to consolidate here, and then we'll consider a buy. That would be the buy setup. So there is no buy setup. Silver keeps going up. Once it breaks out, this one actually didn't consolidate. The idea was this was going to come back here, drop to this level, and then go. It didn't. So when you break the top like that, we're still expecting this to come here and then look for the continuation. This would be a very, very good buy if this actually drops to this level and go back up. If that happened, we're going with a running flat, and this would be a perfect buy setup, because now you're getting a big flat outside of the structure. Not just a small consolidation, but a bigger flat outside of the structure. That confirms the upside very strongly. So if it comes down here, I don't think we should be selling as yet. Question for my group is, if it drops here and it makes a flag, well, we will consider the sell for at least 1 more impulse. 1 more impulse, it could still reverse, or 1 more impulse flag and it continues to go. Right? This is a sharp move, and I really don't want to put it with anything here as yet. We're not looking for that. We're assuming that this could be a running flag, because you have some consolidations in here. We have a flag in here. We have some pullback here. You're getting the consolidation there. So if this comes deep, and I actually want it to drop like this, because once it's dropped like that, you have upside or you have consolidations and downside. Either would work for us. What if this consolidate here and decide to go up? Put the buy above here. It's a single impulse. Take profit. Makes another one. Put the buy, take profit, because this could be a long drawn out running flat in the future. We know that happens. So right now, it is a buy setup. The buy actually is a good idea in any case, because we're going up and we're out of the structure very far. So the buy is a good idea. We're almost, we're almost breaking the top of the last impulse. So that makes for a very good buy setup. If they take off from this point, it's a flag that is going to go 1 more up. That's a buy setup. If it comes down here, go back up, that would be a buy setup. We probably get it from here. If it consolidates here, only then we'll consider a sell. So 3 options. Let's see which one works. 2 for buy, 1 for sell. Gold, still not a buy setup. Gold is still pretty much consolidating on the bottom half of this last impulse down. We're still consolidating here. And if it keeps consolidating, even if it goes up like this, then we'll probably drop back here and go up one more, right? But if it drops from that point here, it still looks like a good sell setup, but the sell might have to come under the low. If you're going to go for a sell, if this starts to drop, I wouldn't sell it within this range because it can come to this level and go back up for a while. So I'll sell it only under the low. There's no buy setup here. Even if this goes up, we don't have a buy setup, right? This is going up too slow to go for a buy. But a sell setup with an entry order here is that if it drops like this, that's a good idea. And the sell is a better idea here. And the whole consolidation here is very slow. So we can put the sell in gold. You have a buy in silver. If everything drops, you get the gold. If this goes up slowly, silver will go up slowly as well. Silver would be the best buy. Gold doesn't have a buy setup. Euro. By the way, people are asking why you're looking at gold sell if you're thinking silver is a buy. Well, gold did make a move to the upside. Did silver go ahead and did silver made a move to the upside? Gold couldn't even break the top. So they don't necessarily are moving with the same speed in the same direction, right? We look at each pattern individually, not as such that they're correlated. There's no correlation there. Euro. Still upside. If you take the trade, you close it. Definitely you close it because it didn't go for, see that? We consolidate there, and with that consolidation, if you're in the trade from the last impulse at the top here, which if you were buying based on breaking of the last impulse, go back to the 1 hour, sorry. If you're buying in the break of the last impulse, which would be this one, or if you bought this flag, either you probably would close it already, right? Because we came very close to the top, and we are coming back down. Now, can we come back down to this level and then still go? That's still possible. Just a bigger flat than we thought. This would be a 1, 2, 3, a correction, another 1, 2, 3, and then go. It's not a reversal because we came all the way to the top. So we're expecting more upside. This might not be all the correction, or that will be part of a bigger correction, right? So let's see. It comes back here. Can we sell it if it goes down? Yeah, short term, yep, you're aiming for this low. So if you actually get a flag here, that could be a short-term sell to this level. We didn't break the top, right? So we can come and break the low. The top is not broken, which means this can come back and break the low. So a short-term trade for a sell is not a bad idea if you get a flag. Without the flag, don't sell it. Without a flag, it can go right back up from this point, right? It can go right back up from that point. Should we buy it at this point here for a possible expanding flat there? Might not be the best option, but you can do that. You can put a buy entry here if we think this is making an expanding flat for upside. I think it's coming down. We'll probably come retest this low. We're mostly coming to retest the low and then go back up. So let's see what that does. Sorry. Pong actually dropped. And like I said, once it dropped, you take the trade. And once it dropped to this level, the worst case is you put it to break even. If you took profit, that's great. We can go back up, right? Can we look at this as a possible running flat? I think so. All we need to do now is break the top. And then we can still come right back down. I don't think we broke the top as yet. So I'm going to take this sell off. That was a good sell, by the way. Take this sell off. You can put an entry for a buy here. If this goes up, great. If it comes back down lower, then it's just another consolidation. This one is going up really slow, right? So we will still keep this for the possibility that it can drop. It can drop. There's no sell setup. There's a buy setup in it right now, especially if we think this is a running flat. If we look for this possibility that this here is a running flat, right? That is what we're looking for. There, this is a pullback. We got a sharp pullback here. This was a sell because we know there's going to be 1, 2, 3. If they were going to drop totally, you'll be in the trade. It didn't drop totally, you get out of the trade. There was enough to get out of that trade, right? Time-wise as well as pip-wise, you had more than enough to get out. That would be about, 45 pips. You should take some profit, even not just get out of the 45 pip trade. So this could be a flag that takes off. So that would be a buy setup. If it comes lower, we're not selling this yet. I think you can see why there's no sell setup there yet, right? Aussie, we broke the top, so any sell setup is a good idea, right? We broke the top, we're coming down really fast. That doesn't mean anything as yet, it's just one impulse. Any flag here, sell setup. We wanted to break the top. Sorry, put it in the 4-hour. We wanted to break the top, and then we wanted to come down back. Can it get to the 270? Well, it's pretty close. It might even get there, right? Remember, this was a sharp move down. This was a sharp move down. They have some corrections in them on the lower time frame, like a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So this could probably come here and do this, drop back here and make a new high. It's possible. If we get this, we buy. You buy from here, you get a trade to the top. What if it is coming down without taking out the 270? Just breaking the top is enough. Well, the sell setup would be amazing. So you want that impulse. See, this is a 1, 2, 3. This here was more of a bigger one, also 1, 2, 3 here. And this was a bigger one, 1, 2, 3. So would we do the same thing here? Would it go back up and then drop? Take the third one down. So if you had sold this, worst case is break even, right? If you had sold, well, this one we didn't get a sell, but if you had sold this, you probably would have got a small loss on that one, right? I don't think we sold that, but with this one, if you had sold this, you'd do well on it, right? So the same thing, now that we broke the top, the sells are guaranteed. We weren't looking for sells here, we're looking for buy setups to go break the top. Now we broke the top, we're looking for sell setups, which means if we get a sell setup here today, we'll take the trade. Even if it does 1, 2, 3 and go back up, we'll get out for break even, just like we just did on the pump, right? The worst case you would get in a trade like that is break even. By all rules, by the strategy we use, that would be a break even trade. Actually, today I'm not going anywhere. News for those of you who just joined. So I would be in the room at least 3 or 4 times today. We'll see if we can get this trade here. It will take a couple hours, just drop 3 hours there, give it about 4 or 5, 3 hours sideways. So maybe close to New York session, we'll get a trade on this if it consolidates here. New Zealand, I think that also broke the top. Yep, broke the top. We don't have any trade set up again. Not for the upside, not for the downside now. So we'll have to wait. But the downside might be the faster one if you get a couple hours sideways. If you get a couple hours sideways, that could be a sell. Not the best one. I think the Aussie is a better setup. I'm not sure whether this wick is real. If it's real, then that makes this not so good. Right? You want it to come much more down and then they could be flat. Swiss went back, didn't break the top. You didn't get a buy setup. Actually, they came down first. It came down first from this point as we thought. And I said, if you're selling, you got to be careful when you break the low every time because it might get to this level or it might not get there. Looks like they're going there. But if you took this trade, it would be more of a break even because I would assume that if you sell it here, and that was the sell we were looking at, you would assume that it's going to come here. So you probably put it just to break even. There's no reason to keep that trade. It actually pulled back and it's dropping again. There's a sell setup here again today. We got a sell setup. If this drops, it could go up back like that. We're not buying it yet. We will start by when we get a flag. If it goes up back, no problem. But if it drops like this here, you can get a small trade here today, right? So it will probably get to that level where we want it. Very slow. It's going very slow. That's surprising, right? There's a chance that they could drop here and then go back up. So let's see if we get the sell setup, if there's any sell to that. If it starts to go up from here, no problem. Like I said, that would be a good running flat. Basically, we would still look at that as a perfect running flat if it goes up from there. But let's see if it comes to this level. It's coming down slowly. You don't have to worry. If you took any sell, you got break even. That's the worst case. Your stop was above here. You didn't get stopped out. Even if you missed the break even the first time, the second time you're in profit. So now there's a flag forming here. So that's a sell setup. It's a short-term sell, right? All sells here now will be very short-term because we don't know how far it is going to go before it goes back up. Yen actually did exactly what we were expecting. Break the top. If you took the sell, right? Any one of those, whether you took them off for break even or not, is interesting. If you took a sell, you put a sell here. You're still in the trade going, right? So the deeper correction is coming, and that's why we're saying you can start to sell there because it's making a deeper correction, right? So those were sell setups because we're getting a deeper correction. I think we've just started the deeper correction. Now, if any flag you get there, you can still sell because I don't think the deeper correction is finished. I think we will still continue to go some more, right? Let's see how deep it goes and how far it goes. On the 1 hour, you can take any sell setup you get, any flag you get, take it. Just take off the profit immediately, right? Because the deeper you go, remember this is a correction, right? It can turn to the upside anytime just for the B part, can start to do this and then go, right? I think we'll have a bigger correction here before we go. I don't think it's a reversal as yet. I just think it's a deeper correction. CAD, So CAD was a buy setup with your entry above the top. It actually did crawl down some more. And like I said, the possibility is if it comes to this level, you pull that, you take off the buy setup, right? Because it's no longer valid. You're expecting a flat. So you would expect this, if it comes here, to go back up there and then come down, or break the low as it did here, go back up there and then come down as a running flat. So that becomes a running flat sell setup. Let's see if we want to sell when it comes there, right? So we will be looking at this as a possible running flat, which means we think this is going to come back somewhere here and then drop. That would be a sell setup either from here or if you get a flag in here, right? If it turns, give you a flag here, that would be a sell from there or a sell from here. Which means if it goes very fast and start to drop, that would be the sell. It's going very slow now. If you can see that, right? It's starting to slow down. These were bigger drops, and now it started to go very slow. This was a small one. You're making a flag, you might get a small one. And I think we're getting divergence, internal divergence here, divergence in the 1 hour. It doesn't mean the end of the move. It just means that the momentum is slowing down. So you're not going to have very big impulses. You don't keep it long, right? You just take off the trade. It could still go much more. We don't know how low it's going to go. If it's a correction, we anticipate 786. If it is going to break the low, either is possible. If it is going to break the low, well, then it's going very slow. It will get to the low. So if it's making a bigger correction, then it's just about to the 786 and then turn, like the previous one. So let's see. Every buy setup we get, we will take it, right? If this was a buy setup, it didn't go, we're not in the trade. No problem. If this one, I don't think this will give us a buy setup. I don't see this coming here and making a flag, right? That's very unlikely. It's more likely that this is making a running flat here and then go down. So let's see. We'll see which one we get today. We'll most likely get a sell setup. If we're going to get a buy, you would have to go up 6-7 hours for the flag, and then we'll get a trade. Aussie yen. Okay, the yen pairs, all the yen pairs could come into correction because this broke the top, or reversal, total reversal on the daily. All right, we broke the top there now. So it could be total reversal, or it could be just a deep correction like this here. Just a deep correction like this. Something like this, and then continue to go one more up. We don't know that. Let's go to the 4 hour and see. So let's see the daily if we have divergence. We have divergence only between this, and we don't have that. We have divergence here, but we just broke the top there, and we still have divergence with this, but not with this. That's strange. Okay. Even if this is a big correction, we'll see. It's strange that this piece and this piece, there's no divergence, but you have divergence with this one, unless we're looking at a really big running flat, which I don't think we're looking at. So let's see what happens at this point. Go to the 4 hour. No divergence. I had no divergence, but for us to get divergence, you need a bigger correction like this. You needed to do something like this, go back up there, break the top, then give you divergence. So there is still a possibility for a very deep correction here if we find 1 hour divergence in this one. And I think we do have 1 hour divergence there. Yep, we do. So the sell setup is a good idea, at least for a deeper correction or for total reversal. Well, it's not there as yet. Let me see if our traders got anything. You can probably go for a 15-minute one if this comes back up a little. We can take a chance on the 15-minute flag. You just want this to come back up a little here. Give you a 15-minute flag. We can take a chance because we're at the daily high. It will be worth going for it. Go back to the 1 hour and let's see which one it gives us. Euro yen, this is a correction. I think we'll go more. See this one, it dropped like we expected. It pulled back, it dropped. I think we can look at this as a flat. There's a possibility that is a flat. It could get bigger, but this could be a flat for upside. So we'll see. New Zealand yen, they're all pulling backs. They could just be pullback or they could be reversal, right? This one already, I think, broke the top a long while ago. So this is not, we broke this top a long while ago. I'm not looking at this one, I'm looking at this one. We broke that a long while ago. So it could be a deep correction like this, or it could be a reversal. We don't have divergence between these. We don't have divergence between this last impulse up and any one of them. So it could be a deep correction and then continue to go. Let's see in the 1 hour. 1 hour divergence is only for the last impulse. So yes, you could probably get a flag here, go for a sell, flag, go for a sell, and then you'll get a deeper correction, drop, deeper correction, drop. We'll get a bigger correction here and then upside. So from the top, it's worth if you get a sell setup. Could it be a buy? Well, you would have to get a flag because this is a single impulse. It will have to go back up like this, come here, and then you get the buy setup. If we're going to go for any buy setup, it will be a while from now. Canadian also coming down. It hasn't broke out as yet. This could be a running flat, so I'll be careful of selling it. This could be a running flat here. Even if you get a flag here and it drop one more like this, it drop one more, it could still be a running flat for upside. So the Canadian, I'll be cautioned, right, on the sell in the Canadian. Swiss yen, we did have a flag already. This broke, and then it's making a bigger one here. So you're getting something like this right now, which is more like a channel, and you're in the middle of it. So nothing there. Right, if you're buying all of these, you may want to start moving stops very tight, probably even take off some trade, because you can see that at this point, if they start to make this channel, if it's a channel or so, it's a reversal sign, right? Regardless what that is, you're starting to get divergence and you're getting a channel running flat. We'll know when this comes here. If it makes a flag, we go for the sell. If it actually goes back up, we'll consider that it's a running flat. You can buy above the top. Right now looks more like a channel because of where we are in the big picture. We also broke the top, right? We broke the top of this one. So if they want to go down, this would be the point from where they can go, right? We would look for divergence, I think. No divergence in the whole up move. We look for divergence between this and this one, right? That's the two bigger pattern, the two bigger impulses. You have divergence between this and this, but you don't have internal divergence in here. You don't have the divergence in here. So it could be a deep pullback and still one more up. Still possible for one more up. So we can treat that as a possibility for the start of a bigger correction. Would not be a bad idea. Let's go. Eurocat. Eurocat dropped. It didn't break the low, but it's not going down as an impulse, right? This is not going down as an impulse. And we're not breaking the low. So the assumption is when that happens, you're thinking bigger correction. This whole thing becomes a bigger correction before it drops. Right? It's just going up really slow. So there might be more up move, but there's no buy setup. Because if it's a bigger correction, you might hardly get any buy setup. This looks like a 1, 2, 3. This is one up. This is one up. You could probably even come back here. This would still be a big correction for upside. So probably stay away from this from now. Euro Oz. Okay, you might be getting a deeper correction here too. It dropped quite a lot. So with this kind of a drop, you will expect a deeper correction at some point. Put it in the 4-hour. So you'll most likely get a 4-hour correction. This might start to give you a 4-hour correction here. And then the drop again. So let's see if we have any buy setup on it. 1 hour. Nope, no buy setup. Could it just be a start of a bigger, start of a smaller correction, which means this comes back deep here. Go there and then sell. Yeah, if that happens, we'll sell. That'll take more than a day to happen, right? But if you get a flag here, now it's a buy. You're buying for a deeper correction to the upside, right? We'll go with a buy for a deep, assuming that this is a very sharp one. None of the start impulse weren't so sharp, right? This one, it went there. They had a pull back and go. That wasn't that sharp. This one was very small. Any of the start impulse, they were not that sharp, right? This pull here, come back all the way to the bottom, then went. This one was a sharp one. If you bought this, you got break even. Let's see what this gives us. We'll wait until we get a flag. And if they make a flag here, we'll assume we're getting one more impulse up. Go for the trade, even if it starts to come down back after that. Euro New Zealand. This is a correction for a sell. This is not, it did break the low here though. We have to be aware of this. I'm assuming that this is just making an expanding flat and it's going to drop. So what you can literally do is put a sell setup here. We in our group can put a sell setup. I'm not making trade calls for anybody. We can put a sell setup there. If it drops, that's a trade. If it goes up higher, make a flag. We'll treat it like the Euro Oz and look for a buy setup because it did break the low. This is the lowest point. So this could literally be a smaller flag in here. The lowest point, the reversal, get you a flag and go. But what if it drops? We will go with this whole piece as the bigger expanding, small expanding flat. Euro Swiss. Okay, this one went up. You did get a correction. You get one, you get two, contracting flat, go. We're breaking out of that contracting flat there. We're breaking out of that bigger flat. You're getting a correction here. So we'll retest it one more. That's a good sell setup. Retest the low. So this one has a sell setup on it. You can put an entry for a sell. Let me get it. Because we had a 1, 2, 3 up and they're coming back down. So this was just a deeper correction, something like this. And we're going one more down. So this is a drop, just like these flags, we can sell it, go for the sell. It might consolidate some more here, might even go back up higher. This could possibly go back up higher and then drop, but it's a sell setup. Europound, it didn't go anywhere. We were trying to sell it yesterday. It's becoming useless because it's not going. It did come back to the top as expected, right? For the flat. Now you could probably be looking at it as a 1, 2, 3, go back to the top here again and then drop. I think most likely that's what you're doing, right? You can put an entry for a sell now right under the low, but there's a good chance it's going back up to the top. You can put an entry for a sell here, but I have a very strong feeling that this is going to come back here because we're going to use this as the flat in the middle. And you're going to get 1, 2, 3. And if you get a sell from the top here, that'd be a perfect sell setup. So if it goes back to the top, we look for a sell from the top, right? And if it actually drops from here, we'll go for the trade. Hang in. Okay, it broke the top, but you got to be cautious here. We're very close to the we already broke the top. So turning point is anytime, but we're not turning as yet. If this here looks more like a flat in the making. See, that looks like a flat, or we're making a channel. I think this is the second one that we could assume that they're making a channel. When you start a channel like that, that's a reversal point. So let's see. I don't think it's reversing as yet because this one go all the way to the top. I didn't think we broke the top. Let's see if we broke it, because if we broke the top, that could be the start of the downside. But if the top is not broken, you're just making a flat. We didn't break it. No, I don't think we break the top. So it's more of a flat for continuation to the upside. We'll see. Pound CAD. Okay, it didn't go up from this point. It actually came down a little more, but you're still going up. So it came a little deeper here. And that is a little weird. You now have a buy setup here. But this buy setup is only to break the top. Right, you're getting a buy setup here. But this one would be only to break this top. See what it is? You're getting something like this here. So I'll take that only to break the top and probably watch it come back here. We're making some kind of a weird pattern there. We'll figure it out. I think I have an idea what it's doing. It's more like a bigger running flat in the middle here before it takes off. So you probably get this. I'll be looking at these. And I'll be looking at these. Now this can be the B wave. This is the trade we're looking for now. This piece. See this one here? This is the trade you're looking for back to the top there. But I don't think that's the B part. This is not the B part of it. So you're just getting a series of sharp impulses. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We'll have to figure it out. I think we can come back down for a 1, 2, 3, and maybe then go. But we can go for this buy. If we're wrong and this one actually takes off, good for us. Right? Let's assume for a second that this is all the correction. I don't think it is. And this one actually takes off now. That would be good, but I don't think it is. Again, I don't think that is it. I've seen these patterns, and I think what would happen is we'll get 1, 2, 3 to the top here. We will come back down for a 1, 2, 3 here, and then maybe take off. So we look at this most like 1, 2, 3 in the middle here, and a 1, 2, 3 here before it goes. Well, let's wait and see. But the buy is this a buy setup. It's actually a very good buy setup. Bangos. Okay, we could be going for a deeper correction. I think we're dropping, so this would be more of a, or we might be going for this one. Finally, we might be going for that. So any buy setup you get, you can take it. Even if it becomes a break-even trade. Could it be just a deeper pullback and a drop again? Sure. We don't know that. So if we get a buy setup here, we take it back to the top, put it to break even and see whether they drop or whether they actually go up for this one here. All right, so let's see. Yesterday, these were sell setups. We broke the low. We're getting a possible reversal, not sure. It could also turn out to be just a flat here. We'll see it. It will take a while. If they just come back here and go back there, we'll get a flat. That'd be a sell setup. But that will take a while, so we will know. Right? It's too early to say that's a possible flat, but it's easy if you get a flat to take the buy. That's the first thing you're going to have. Pound Swiss definitely will be a sell. It doesn't matter what this does, you're going to get a sell. I think I showed it in very detail yesterday. So if you want to understand why, watch, and you haven't seen yesterday's video, if you're watching it in YouTube, watch yesterday's video. Actually, if this piece could go up one more, I wouldn't be surprised if this goes one more up there. That's possible. And then come down. So if you actually get a buy setup here to break the top, that might make sense. But if this keeps coming down, wait for a flag here and we'll sell. I will wait for a flag and sell. I wouldn't sell a flag here simply because of that possible flag. Pound New Zealand. This is just going down some more, so wait for any flag sell. We don't have any reversal sign. It's still more of a consolidation in the 1 hour here. This is kind of pulling back up, but I don't think it's trying to go back up. I think we're just, sharp pull back and consolidate here and drop again. So if you sold this here more of a break even, it comes back here, take it for break even, look for another entry. Aussie Swiss. Okay, we just broke. I didn't think we break the top. We came to the top and we're going back down, just a bigger flat. I don't think we're reversing anywhere. Let's see. Maybe a bigger correction. That's possible. Just a bigger correction. I don't think we're going anywhere as yet. We still have divergence. Yeah, we still have some divergence here. But this is not completed as yet, so we'll see. Maybe we can go for a short-term sell setup if this makes a flag here under the low. Under this low, if we make a flag there, we can go for a short-term sell. But I think it's more of a correction for upside. Kind of a 1, 2, 3 and upside is what we're looking for. Aussie CAD, same thing. I still think it's more upside. This is more of a channel. Could be a running flat. An entry order here is a great idea. If it makes a flag here, we'll consider a deeper pullback, and then go. Aussie New Zealand, you can go for the sell now. You have a flat. I don't know if it's going to go fast or slow. This likes to move very slow, but you have a flat here. So this is a good sell. It might go very slow, but at least you know how to trade it, right? You know it's going slow. New Zealand Swiss. We've got a buy setup forming here. I think the Aussie Swiss is a buy setup also. This one is a better one. This one is clearer of buy setup than the Aussie Swiss, but both of them buy setups. Actually, these are good buy setups. They can go much more. New Zealand CAD, also buy setup. Actually, you're getting this setup here. It's not complete. I don't think it's complete. Put an entry above the top just in case. Because you could be looking at a running flat here, or you could be looking at a flat of its own there. CAD Swiss. We might get a big running flat here and then one more up. One more drop here, that's a sell setup, one drop, and then upside. That's just a big running flag, but there is a drop here, right? See this flag here? It did drop, it made another flag, and it did drop, and then it went up. So I can see this dropping here, but then taking back off to the upside. That's a good sell, short term, very short term, you know it. Yesterday, we did this in details, right? Remember, we did this in details, that even if you break that top yesterday, I said they're likely gonna come back here and then go. So what I think is likely gonna happen, we can put this for tomorrow's webinar, so people who are not aware with wave analysis understand why we're looking at the patterns this way. Somewhere here, it's very short-lived, and then we were expecting this to go back up. Right, I'm looking for a running flat pattern there. That would be this. You can watch yesterday's webinar. I explained it. You can watch the webinar the day before. I explained this, what we were looking for, the time of the correction, what correction it has. when we saw this, why we think when this come here, it should come back here and then go. Because that's a known pattern. If it's going to make that pattern, this is how it should go, right? I am not saying it is going to make that pattern, but I'm saying if this is going to make, sorry guys, the running flat that we know, then this is how it's going to behave. Well, what if it behaves that way? Well, then you can take advantage of it. You can say, well, if it actually does behave that, I do have a sell here. If he's wrong, which means if I'm wrong, this is going to continue to drop and you will make more money than expected. I think you would have to be careful, which means when we see it, we're not just taking the sell, we're aware that this might just drop right here and go right back up. So if we see it starts to turn or consolidate, you get out of the trade and you look for a buy setup here for the upside. If you get a buy setup, that's a perfect one, take it. Okay, it's consolidating, so you might get another drop or it might climb back to the top. Like we said, possible this is gonna climb back to the top there and then drop again. So there's short-term buy setups for the climb. I don't know how it's going to go, so you have to decide whether you want to take the buy for that. It's mostly because it's correcting. All right, we're going down. If you take this whole one, we're going down, but this could correct its way back to the top. What are the chances we retest this top? Let's see on the daily. Very slight, but possible. There is a slight but possible chance that this goes to retest the top and then come down. So if you get short-term buy setup, it's worth it. Take the flags. There is a flag forming there. Take the trade, see how far it goes. Okay, I'm going to go really fast now because time is running out. This one is actually consolidating. It will come a little more here. They're dropping, they're dropping, they're dropping, and then we'll probably see the next up move up. US oil. Yep, it pulled back deep, but still upside. All right, this is the deep pullback. You can actually see the flat there. Probably getting a flag here, but go more. Any other pullback you can buy. We don't have the turning point as yet where it's turning. We don't have an impulse with a flag for the sell setup, but still buy. Same for the UK oil. Natural gas. Natural gas, you're getting a sell setup. You can get one more sell like this. See, this one is going, let it go up, and then the drop makes a flag, you go for that sell. US 30. Okay, we actually came back to the top. This move is not very impulsive. Yesterday we were here, it didn't go very far. So there's no reason to think that if you didn't buy it, you did. I didn't think we were trying to buy this. We were waiting to see whether this comes back. I still don't think it's a good buy at the top there. Right? Just buy something else. I think there were buys on the other one, right? DAX, you're getting a sell setup with the entry here. If you got in earlier, you're already in the trade with slight profit. If not, you can actually, because we broke, right? See, they made a new high and it dropped, it breaks. It could drop really fast, it could drop slow, but I still think it might be a sell setup. This one is a little big, so even if it's going to be a flat, you want to get in early so you can get out, you can get out for positive. There was a flag here for the sell, but it's probably gone. Let's see if this drops, how far it drops, and if they're going to go back up. Let's say 1, 2, 3. Just be careful when it tag you. If it's going very slow, you get out of the trade. Use a stop above this stop here, because if it's a 1, 2, 3, this is the last impulse, all right? If this is a 1, 2, let's say 3 for upside, you'll have to either get out here or use a stop here. But there's a high probability of them dropping, very high. So let's see. If this starts to go really slow, pull the end short or wait for a flag. S&P 500 was a buy, and it's still a buy. You still have a flag here. This one is still a buy. I think you had the buy in the S&P 500. You have the buy in NASDAQ. This one didn't go anywhere. It's coming down deeper. It's pulling back deeper. You'll have to wait for the setup and then go for the buy. This one, we're looking for a sell. It's still going up. I wouldn't buy it. Right, I'll eventually wait for this to finish. There's a flat there for an upside. See, there's a flat forming here. It's probably going to go up like this. It could do this for a while, but wait for this drop, wait for the move up, and then wait for this, which means you go for this sell. And then from here, you can look for that buy. I want this flat to complete itself. and then this move up, right? So you get 1, 2, 3, this move up, and then we go for the bigger sell. But these short-term buys, I don't think they're great, but if you want to trade them, that's okay. And you do have divergence to support the possibility of that drop. Nifty finally might be getting a turn or a deeper correction. So if it goes up and make a flag, go for the buy, because you see these deep pullbacks do go. Eventually you get running flats in them. Tesla at the top. So any sell setup you'll take, the buy setup you'll have to decide, because they're not going to be very big movements, right? If you get a buy setup, it's probably just going to do this and control. Because at any time this thing could come back down. So if I was looking at this chart and decide whether I want to buy, I would not be buying it up there. If I'm deciding whether I want to be sell, yeah, I can look for a sell here, but we don't have a sell setup. Amazon, just a little more to break the top, or a little more up here, and then we can see the downside. We're assuming that this is making a flat here. That's the assumption. We'll see. You don't have any setup, not for the buy, not for the sellers yet. I mean, if you put the buy here just to break the stop, that's not a big trade. It's not worth it. Okay, this is correcting. I think you can literally see that. You're making some kind of a running flat here, maybe, or this is a smaller one in here. We don't know. Or a bigger one. Put an entry for a buy here if it goes. What if it drops lower? Wait for any correction here, and then we start selling. So it has a drop lower, negate the possibility of a running flat at the top there, and then make a flag before you sell. PayPal. Yep, it's going down. It probably comes some more down. Starting to look very corrective though, this piece here. It's not looking like this impulse going down. So we'll see. So far it's going down. And this is correcting. Excuse me. This is a big buy actually. It's just one big flat here. Might come a little more, but then it's upside. You don't have any setup on it, not for the buy, not for the sell. Bitcoin, I think we broke the top. And if you were a short-term trader, I hope you got out of it when you broke the top. Take your profit at the top here. I mean, if you were buying it from here to there, good. I hope you managed to get out because you're back at square one. Right? You're back at where you enter. Now, the question is this a pullback to go? We don't know that. It could be. You've got those sharp pullback and then they correct and then they go. Right? They end up making a bigger correction. Is this making a bigger correction? Drop, make a correction like this, probably drop back and then go. That's possible, like this one. It drop, make a correction, come here, go there, come back here, and then go. You can look at this piece in the middle here as a flat. That makes sense. And then you get 1, 2, 3. Well, let's see if it's doing that. Then you get one more up. But the idea is when it breaks the top, it's going to go to heaven. Be careful. Right? I think a lot of traders had the idea that when it breaks the top, it's going to take off like a rocket. Well, it's not taking off, right? On the trading view, that's why I started conversation in the thing, right? When it breaks the top, you have to be careful. You have to be more careful when it breaks the top, especially if you have a pattern like this. Right? That's when you have to be careful. If we didn't have this sharp impulse here, yes. I mean, if you use the analysis we're using and you're basing on what we're saying is that when it breaks top like this with a sharp impulse in front of it, and this move going up slow, you have to be cautious. Now, I'm not saying that that is where it can stop, right? This is a big pattern. We know how far this thing can go, right? We know how far this thing can go before this comes back. What I'm saying is your time is to be cautious. So if you're in the trade, take the profit. Wait for the next setup. Who says it's not reversing from that point? We don't know that, right? We'll know it very soon. So go to the 1 hour. Worst case is you have break even. That's your worst case scenario. The good case scenario is that you took profit off there because you were cautious. Great. If you're very long-term in Bitcoin, then that's a whole different story. Right? I mean, if you're just an investor in Bitcoin that believes it's going to go to 100,000 and more, great. That's a whole different story. But if you're a short-term trader, this was a flag. You bought, you got out somewhere here, you got out somewhere here. Take profit. Wait to see what happens here. This is one impulse. So if we make a correction here, you could go deeper. If we go back up to the top here, you're going to come here and then go. Simple. We're looking at it the simple ways we look at it. If it does what we think it's doing, great, you got to trade. Like yesterday, you got to trade, that was a buy. This one here was a buy. But both of them you have to be cautious with, especially when you're the top. XRP went up a little more, not much more. We're not expecting, this didn't go anywhere. Bitcoin did spike, this didn't spike. It actually stayed where right it was. I do think they can come and break this top. Right, I wouldn't be surprised if they go break that top. It's possible in this pattern. Right, they can 1, 2, 3. You can go break this top here and then come down. That is possible. It can also drop from here to the downside. We don't have a sell setup. It's more of a buy setup right now. Because if the consolidation is happening here, then the chances are you will do this and then come down. Can this do this and go way back to this top? I'm not looking. Let's see what is the daily structure. No, I'm not really expecting that to happen. It's possible, but I'm not expecting that to happen because this is a really, you can see it, it's more of a cluster rather than an impulse. In rare cases, they do that, right? And this one, for example, remember when we had this and we thought this would come back here and then go, and it actually stopped right here and then go. That is possible. If this one is going to go like this very slowly and then take off, well, you can buy every flag you get into there under 1 hour. So if it does take off, great. So what you can do here is put your entry order for a buy, at least to retest this stop. And if it takes off, good for you. Not that they will repeat that part, right? Because that wasn't the pattern that we were looking at. The contracting flat was not a pattern we were looking at, but it turns out it's a contracting flat. So you can go for this. I think while I'm on this, I can answer the question somebody asked me on YouTube. Which is easier to trade, cryptocurrency? Neither. Neither is easy to trade. Trading on itself is not easy. It's complex, but it's doable. And a lot of traders in our room are doing it very good. You can trade both if you understand how these charts behave, and you have to study them to understand what specific patterns they make. Then yes, both would be easy to trade if you master it. If you didn't, then both are difficult. Pretty much, you know, it's like, what is easier to do, drive a car or fly a plane? If you ask the pilot, he'll probably say flying a plane. If you ask a guy who's a race car thing, he will say probably driving is easier. What you're trained to do will make you easy, will be easy for you to do, right? So if you train yourself to trade currency, great. If you train yourself to trade crypto, great. You can do both at the same time, right? This is probably, and by the way, for the adding of the new ones, a lot of people ask me which one I should add on there. There were a lot of suggestions what to add on from YouTube. So what we'll do, we'll collect all the suggestions and all the suggestions in my group, and we'll just put them out in a vote in my group, and we'll decide the top 10. Because there was a lot of suggestions there. I don't think my group trades all of that. And remember, these webinars are specifically for my group. I just share them with you guys. So this is a correction. I think this is pretty clear. We've seen this many times. When you see it like this, as flat as this is, that's a corrective structure. It can go up some more. Yes, I think it's going to go up, break this top. I believe so. This will probably go break the top, and then we'll get some downside. Because it's going really flat, and that means we're in a corrective move, and we'll drop. All right, so let's see. ETH. Okay, this went up. No surprise here. We wanted it to break this top. I was assuming that this could be a running flat. We're assuming once this didn't drop and it starts to go back up, we're assuming that there is a possibility we might look at this as a running flat. Just a slight possibility we're thinking. I'm thinking that's possible. So we wanted to break this top, and then from there now, here is where, like, if you bought that, you would have to be cautious here. Because it can also, like Bitcoin, break the top. It doesn't necessarily have to, but can it come down back from there? Which means, what if you get a sell setup there? Would you sell it? That's the question. When I'm saying, but in terms of pattern, if you're wave analysis and you get a sell setup there, analyst, and you get a sell, you will definitely go for that trade. If you get a buy setup, you will take it, but you will take it with caution, right? Because you're aware that from this point, it just needs one more impulse before it drops. Another correction, one more impulse, it can drop. We're aware that it is very, very high probability to drop. That doesn't mean you stop buying. That means your buy at this point becomes very cautious. The sell is your good one, right? So you have to be careful. The sell is the most high probability trade for downside. We don't have a sell setup, at least not as yet. We also don't have a buy setup as yet. Dash, this is also very corrective. You can see this, it's pretty flat. It's very corrective in relationship to these moves. That is pretty flat. So this is thinking, I'm thinking this is going to go break this top, which I think we just broke. Maybe a little more up. There's a buy setup here and then downside. So let's see. But there's a buy setup. Go for the buy. If I'm wrong, it's going to take off like a rocket and you'll do well. I don't see the bigger pattern. Let's see in the 4 hour. Do we have a complete pattern somewhere? It doesn't look so. I don't see these moves down are really sharp. This one is going up slow like this. That even if it goes back to this top, this will all be one big correction. This whole thing starting from here. I still think we're in a big correction, dropping, pulling back, going down, pulling back, going down. Even if it comes back to this top, it is still, this will go very slow to there and then it's going to drop because this turned out to be the big move down. This one here. You had a flat there, just like you had this flat there, right? This one. So this sharp move, you kind of go. We broke the top. See, we broke the top there and then drop. That's a running flat. Then you make a new high. You drop, you're starting to do this. You're going to drop. This could go up some more. I can see this coming back even to break this top. That possibility exists. Break that top and then drop. So the buy setup here might be, you can get a sudden spike on this one if you want. That buy setup, you just have to be very cautious with it. And then we'll see what happens from there. This also looks very sideways, this piece. It's pretty much sideways. So I wouldn't be surprised if this dropped here, at least back to this level, somewhere here, and then we can go back up. All right. So a drop, at least a break below. And I think it's looking more like a sell setup here in the 4 hour. You're starting to get a flag here, actually. See this? It's not going back up, so that is looking more like a sell. You can assume that this is going to drop. This could be a good sell setup, actually. This one is also very, very slow. It's going to go up some more. Probably break this top. Or we already broke the top, so there's no need for it, but they can do break that top and then come back down. We don't have a sell setup in it yet. This actually is going sideways, and the big picture is very much flat sideways. On the smaller picture is actually getting very aggressive at this one. So the question is whether we come and break these tops. Put it like this. And put this one more like something like this. So the question would be is whether this would go break this top and then come down, right? Retest the stop. That'd be the only question that I would have if I'm looking at this move up, right? Are we gonna go break that top and come? So do we have buy setups? 1 hour? Nope, we don't have any buy setup there as yet. Unless it comes back down. Unless this drops here and then start to go, then that would be a perfect buy setup for me. We can go for that trade. But as it stands right now, this is a small one right at the top there, not the best buy setup. LTC, this was a buy up. As you were expecting this, it broke this. It actually broke this. That was a buy. Where we are in the bigger picture on this. Also going back, can we retest the top? Then we'll have to look at this as a running flat. Right, 1, 2, 3. It's possible, which means you retest the top because this is all looking very sideways in relationship to this drop, right? You can put it on the daily, you'll see that. Right, you got a sudden drop like this and you're consolidating inside here. Right, when you get that, they tend to drop some more. You had it before previously, like you had a sudden drop here. You see all this consolidation in there. We broke the low, we went up back, we came here, we went up back. All of that is one big consolidation and then you dropped. So you broke the low, you went up back, you came back here, you go back up, and then you get a drop here to this level, and then we can go up, right? So literally what we'll be looking at is a big flat, right? This would be your first impulse into that flat. your impulse down, correction, impulse down, and up you go. So you can trade this if you want to that level, breaking that up maybe. Look for the sell to this level, but here is where, if you're an investor, here is where you want it to come back before you start buying for this move up. Right? Can it actually stop here and go? We didn't break the top, so I'm not expecting them to stop here and go. Right? And we're not going up as aggressive as we would like to go. It's going really slow. So the probability of this coming down to break the low is very high. Go to the 4 hour, it's even much slower on the 4 hour, right? Go to the 1 hour. This is the only piece that actually took off. Maybe one more impulse, possible. I can go with the fact that this might make a correction here and do one more like that and then drop. So you put a buy here. If I'm wrong, it's going to take off like a rocket. If I'm right, it's going to come here, start to drop. You'll have to get out, wait for it to retest the lows, and then go for the bigger buy. So that's about it. You saw the bigger pattern. You see where we are in the bigger pattern. You see how we look at the trade. And then you decide what to do. Right? If you have a strategy and how you're going to trade it, great. If you don't have a strategy, join us. So you will learn more about how to trade, right? Using the methods we use and the analysis we use, and probably learn to create your own strategy to trade. It's okay. Thank you guys. If you like it, share it on YouTube and share it anywhere else the traders are. And we'll see where it goes from there. So tomorrow again, I'll see you guys. That will be the last one for this week, and then you'll have the weekly for next week. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody.